My name is Megs Reynolds, and I'm the Executive Director of the Do More Agriculture Foundation. Do More Ag is the national voice and champion for mental health in Canadian agriculture. And today on Talk It Out, we are focusing on anxiety. And joining us is Lesley Kelly. Lesley, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Can you give us a little introduction about yourself and your background, where you're at, where you're coming to from today?
I'm currently coming from I pushed the papers out of the frame, but I'm trying to get as much tax as I can done this week. But I am in our office or my office here. Um, I am a farmer from Waters, Saskatchewan. I farm with my husband and my brother on a grain farm. I have a background in marketing and communications, and I'm on the Sask Wheat board and also co-founder of Do More Egg.
Yes, thank you. And for those of you out there that just watched the video that Matt Kelly did, Matt is Lesley's husband. And so Lesley is joining us to talk about being the supporter in that role. So I guess we'll kick it off with like for you, when did you notice or were made aware that Matt was struggling with anxiety and that it was to a point where you felt like you needed to try to assist in maybe getting help more above and beyond just having conversations and trying to be the support person yourself?
hmm It was about um, I would say about 10 years ago, so a decade ago. And we had first moved back to Saskatchewan and were becoming more involved in my family's farm and making that transition. But we made the short-term sacrifice to live in Regina, and so I could work, and the farm wasn't in a position to take on three family units. So we were living in Regina, and he was commuting to the farm. And then we were faced with some weather challenges, which put the farm in a financial risk. And in that time, we started to have children, and he was gone a lot. And because the farm was in that financial distress, he was building two businesses, so he was at the farm a lot. And I was raising our family in the city and working. So I didn't see the day-to-day changes, but when he was at home in Regina, I saw that he felt just this need, as we all do, to be at the farm. That there wasn't really an escape from it because it was just the stress of the farm was consuming him. So that's all he thought about. That's all he talked about. And he felt that, with the son-in-law coming into my family farm, he felt that he had to be there in order to, I would say, prove his worth or his value. And then when we were at the farm, what I saw in those changes, they were outside of his typical normal self. Like, he's a very happy-go-lucky, very he loves conversation. He's always like, he's the life of a party. Like, he's always laughing. He talks to everybody. People just want to be around him because he just has this energy, great energy about him. But I saw a different Matt at the farm. I saw him very withdrawn. There was no chit chat, no laughs, no taking, the bright side of things, that positive outlook. I saw him be very irritable. Like, there was those angry blow ups. I saw him stop eating and then stop sleeping. I saw these changes, but I also knew that in his previous job working in the oil field, that he did face anxious moments. It got him worked up, but he worked through it, and he worked through it through his work. Um, but in this instance, it felt like the work was just making it even worse. So I would approach, bring up the conversation of, hey, like, it looks like lots is on your plate. There's lots going on and it's bothering you. Are you okay? Um, how's your day? Like just even simple check-ins. How's it going? Can I do anything? Is there anything that you need? And it just seemed he had a difficult time of sharing. It was always, no, I'm good. Put my head down, work through it. And I knew my family was also checking in. Um, so I didn't know. And looking back now, I saw the warning signs, but our family didn't have the skills beyond those check-ins of what to do. It was my mom that slipped my husband the crisis number, the Saskatchewan farm stress line, that helped him then um, take it even a step further and then phone and get professional help and advice that really helped all of our family and really helped acknowledge or bring more attention to, hey, this is beyond even conversations of that checking in of, it's how, what can we do as a family to help Matt through this very difficult anxiety struggle that he was living with.
And all of the signs that you outlined that you were noticing, those are really important for people to be looking for in their day-to-day or in those around them. And that may not just be signs of anxiety, but they could be signs that something else is going on that may need professional help, or at least that starting conversation. And I really liked how you highlighted that um, you guys didn't at that time have the ability to take it a lot further than checking in and how are you? Because that's, I mean, that's where we're at. We didn't grow up learning about this stuff. We didn't grow up learning how to be a support person in that role and what to do with that. Um, so once, you know, Matt was able to call the crisis line and kind of figure out, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. Um, what were your next steps to try to take yourself from that check-in to a place where you could be more of that support person at home?
So I didn't know he had phoned the farm stress line. It was afterwards. He had told me because it was during one of his first panic attacks, and that was at the farm. And one of my first, I would say, that was really the game changer in our family marriage and within the farm was when I came home from work one day and he was at home and he was having a full on anxiety attack in our house when I walked in. And I I didn't know that he was experiencing these. I didn't know what it was. I honestly thought when I walked in that he was having a heart attack in front of me and I was going to lose him. So it was heart wrenching. Um, and I did the only thing that I could think of in the moment was to hold him really tight, like as and he's a big guy and I'm not very, but I tried to hold on to him so tight and not let go and get him to focus on my breathing. Um, just to try to help him bring his breathing and his heart rate down. And then what I did was I took off his shirt and I got him to lie on our tile kitchen to cool him down because he was sweating profusely. And after realizing it was that panic attack, um, after it was over, um, that was, I would say, the pivotal moment was where we had to have the conversation. There was nowhere to go but up after that. And seeing someone you love so much go through that pain, I felt that um, we were in that moment, we both experienced it. We both were in it together. And so that was the conversation as to, okay, this is at a point where we need more help and I love you and we're in this together. And I asked him what he needed and he didn't know. He said, I don't know what it is that I need. And so I said, okay, this is a journey and you're not alone and we're going to figure this out together, because I'm going to learn of how I can help support you and you're going to learn about anxiety and things that you can do too, and things that we can do together. And after that, we phoned doctors, mental health professionals. I Googled everything and anything about anxiety, depression, panic attacks, supporting someone, changing language, starting conversations within the family. And that was really the moment where it all changed, where mental health was the priority. Because for us, it was literally life and death for us.
Yeah, that's would have been so hard to walk in on that, and then so hard to know that he had been experiencing that on his own out without you knowing and being there to support. Um, I think that's a great segue into like how has communication evolved now? Matt touched on that with saying like, you know, before busy seasons especially, it's like, okay, here's kind of the plan for the month and the week and the day and the hour and the check-ins, and then how do we tweak the plan to make sure that the mental health is the priority during that time? So can you kind of walk us through kind of that evolution of communication and priorities within not just you and Matt, but in your family farm dynamic too?
Yeah, I think we kind of started from that foundational piece of we're not good communicators. Like we don't know how to talk about, like we might be able to have the checklist of the farm and go check, check, check. But when it comes to like the harder stuff, I'm like, we're gonna have to learn these things, not even from a mental health perspective, but just because we farm with our family and we have to be okay with being uncomfortable and being awkward and having these hard discussions and but courageous discussions. And I would say we were quite not good. We weren't good at it at the start. We didn't know how. We did get professional help to help guide those questions and start from it as looking for positive intent. And I would say as a support person learning how to do that, I thought being a support person, I had to know the answers and I had to give advice and I had to give information and I had to know this and here you go. And I was coming into these conversations with the best of intentions and the best of heart and telling Matt, you should have done this and you could do this and go try this and do this and this and this. And our conversations were just going very taking a right hand turn. And I thought, well, I'm I'm helping, like I'm clearly helping, but really I wasn't until I what I did was to help the communication was we had to learn each other's worlds. And one of those was I had to really try, and I will never fully understand what a day in the life is like for Matt. But one of the moments where I kind of, a light bulb went on in my head was when, I was, well, just get sleep. Like it's easy. Just get 2 hours of sleep and you'll feel better. And he was up all night. And I remember I was at the computer in the morning, I was working, and he handed me a piece of paper. And I looked at it, and it was a computer, like a white 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it was blue. There was not a piece of white left on that paper. And he said, here is a visual of what everything that is running around or going on in my head on this piece of paper. And there were lists, there were thoughts, there were doodles. And that was just such a visual cue of going, oh, okay, now I get it. By me saying, just try this isn't the best way of how I can support him. So I learned more about what Matt, like what he was going through. And then for communication with my family, because we farm with different individuals, what I found was we didn't, we were coming from Alberta. My brother was coming from Manitoba. My parents were here. Everyone was going through their own struggles. Like my parents were feeling, the transition is starting. What does retirement look like? Like, where are we going to live? What are we going to do with our free time? So they were going through some struggles or some difficult times. And my brother was coming in too, and he was thinking like, well, where do I fit in this picture? Like, what's my role on the farm? And also facing some mental health challenges through anxiety and PTSD. So what we did one day was we sat down on the deck and we put away our phones, and we shared each other's worlds and the things that kept us up at night and what each of us were going through. And that was another um, light bulb moment for us, because what I found was when, let's say, my brother was coming to the farm late, I was thinking, well, it's 10 o'clock. Like, I'm putting in the work and he's not. Or, he's being lazy. And until you understand what someone else is going through, you create these stories in your head. But what that did, just by understanding, you came at it from a different angle, more, I would say, positive intent. It's like, oh, he came late because he was up all night, because he's also going through a very anxious moment or anxious times, or he's going through this. So that that changed all the dynamics on the farm. And then that allowed us to start having even deeper conversations as to how we were feeling, where our mental health was at. And my parents really created that environment or that space to be able to share, because this does, like, our relationships and our mental health, um, when they're at the best, have positive impacts on the farm. So what can we do to take care of each other? Because we're a team. What can we do to what can we do to take care of each other and ourselves to help each other through these moments? So that was the start of how we started to learn how to talk and communicate. For myself, just from a support person, just changing my language as to, those check-ins, and learning the different types of support that I could offer, the caring statements, that really helped when my family was going through hard moments and they needed someone to be there and listen to them.
That's yeah, there's so much value in what you just shared, and even just for like the importance of being able to share your world with the people that you're living with and working with. Especially, I mean, farming is such a unique dynamic compared to other industries where you're living where you work, you're working with family, you're living with family. But being able to share that, because even if you're not diagnosable with something, we all have things going on, or if we don't at this minute, we're at some point going to have something going on. I look back at, farming with two under two. I wasn't always in the vest or showing up late because I had a rough night, right? So it doesn't need to be
Mm.
kind of some, further down the line of that mental illness, but there's so much that goes on in our lives that can affect our mental well-being, and having that communication to share and to understand and be supported by each other, especially, I mean, transition is such a challenging time for everyone involved, and to go into that with that open supportive communication is a pretty incredible gift to be able to give each other.
Yeah, and we always said, we're going to grant each other lots of grace because we're new at this. This is a whole different skill set that we're learning on the farm. Like, we can learn, we know how to grow crops, but this is where we're learning at. So we granted each other lots of grace and go, hey, it's not about perfection in this. It's about continual progress. And these little things that we're doing today will have dramatic, huge, positive impacts on the farm later on.
Have you, like, with your boys, have those conversations evolved so that there's that mental health understanding and priority around mental wellness as they're growing up, so that they can build that into their day to day, so that it's not, looking back to Matt talking about when he first started experiencing things or being taught, you just put your head down and work through it by coaches or by other adults. Like, how are you addressing that?
Oh yeah, like I wish that I had these conversations early on. So we're starting them early with our kids, because we're noticing some of those signs that Matt recognized early on. So with us, it's knowing that this between their mom and their dad and their family, this is a place they can share, that no matter what, they are loved and they are safe. And for us, it's recognizing, okay, that your feelings are valid and you're going to have so many feelings as you go and experience different things in life. So for us, it's helping them recognize what emotion or what feeling they're feeling, and name it. So we always say name it to tame it. And if it's a harder feeling, because then they'll start to say, well, I'm feeling, I don't know what it is that I'm feeling, but I feel it in my tummy, or I feel it, it's in my neck right now. And it's like, well, that's a reaction to what it is you're feeling. So just helping them work, create the space and the opportunity for them to share, and be able to share and know that it's okay what they're feeling, and try to name it. And at the end, it's always like, well, how can mom and dad help you through this? Or what are the things that you might do to help you through this? So already trying to develop them some tools or strategies of thinking, of working through it too. But know that it's like, mom and dad, we've got your back through this. You aren't alone, and help them through those feelings.
I love the name it to tame it. I haven't heard that before. I'm gonna use that.
Name it to
What?
tame it. We always
Yeah.
say, like in the farm, we have that check-in where we, like Matt probably shared, where we rate each other's, or we rate our stress levels. And what we found was, if Matt's at a 10, and even when he would say, "Oh, it's at a 10," oh, well, even by saying it, I feel a lot better because I put it out there in the world, and I know, like, recognizing the awareness. Okay, well, I'm stressed, and it's at a 10, it's high. And he said, well, I'm starting to feel even better by putting it out there. Um, and so starting to help incorporate that with our kids too.
Yeah, I've been reading a book on mental toughness and resiliency, and that is one of the things that is talked about in the book is that when we're able to name our stress, we physically move it from one place in our brain to a different place in our brain, and suddenly it's not just this weight, it's something, it's a problem that we can tackle, and it shifts that from being kind of that over stress feeling where you're not productive and you're shut down and you don't know how to deal with it to kind of that more moderate stress level where it's like, okay, I am comfortable with this. I can approach this. I can break this down. I've got this type of thing.
Exactly, exactly.
What do you do to take care of you? So how, it can be so hard when you are in that support role to prioritize yourself because we feel really, really guilty doing that, especially if that person that we're trying to support is our spouse or a child. But that you have to be the priority because you cannot take care of anyone else if you're not first taking care of yourself. So what have you done to make sure that you're taking care of you, especially during some of the busy times where you know that time might be harder for Matt?
Yeah, and Matt has been such a great cheerleader, knowing that, hey, when mental illness affects someone in the family, it really impacts everyone. Um, and so he was always a strong supporter and cheerleader for me, and saying, hey, like, it's been a busy couple weeks, or the last couple days have been really hard. Take the time. I've got this. I've got the kids, or go do your thing. And that in itself is huge, because that takes away um, the guilt, the mom guilt, the wife guilt, the farmer guilt of taking that time. So we realized on the farm that, by cheering on for each other to do things that they need to do, because if our mental health is a priority, that time and those breaks are so important. So in the busy season, a break, even though I would love it to be 5 days sometimes, I'll take 5 minutes wherever I can. And um, like in those busy seasons, just like a hot bath or hot shower, just to take away not only the dirt, but just all the tension and the stress that comes with that. Um, Being outside, like even a walk around the tractor or a run around the tractor, just ways to, if I'm feeling stress, just to release it. My body, I need to really physically release it. I love to read. I do need, just a few minutes by myself, before I go to bed. I have a routine oriented bedtime ritual, of having that shower, having a few minutes to read, going through the things that I'm grateful for. But I also need a creative outlet. So taking a couple minutes, whether it's to journal or to take photos, or dance. Dancing seems to really the kids end up laughing and joining me, because I can't dance. So that's try and look for ways to laugh and have fun. And in the winter, it's a little bit different. Just I love to spend time with my kids and my friends. My friends are huge supporters and really fill up my cup. Love to go on date nights. So for me, it's the social support, it's the creative outlets, and it's opportunities for laughter and love and exercise or mindful movement to work through the tension that or the things that are causing me stress.
Yeah, those are great. And I love how you guys have such amazing communication and understanding, not just within your and Matt relationship, but on farm of like mental health is our priority. So we're going to be cheerleaders for those people doing what they need to do to take care of that. Like that's such an incredible thing to be able to do. And I think we're starting to see more people on farm, especially that next generation, start to put that mental wellness and the overall like what do we want our life to look like higher up.
Mhm.
So it's not just about the economics, which is incredible because we don't have, like for me, we don't have a healthy farm, we don't have a healthy industry if we don't have healthy people. And that starts with,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and it's taken like a decade for us to get here. It hasn't happened overnight because even the notion of like I can take 10 minutes, like, but we have it's harvest, but knowing that um those things that we can do in the day or those preventative things and things we can do in the moment really help us be safe. Like when Matt was going through so much anxiety, I didn't sleep very good. I was so worried about his safety on the farm because knowing he wasn't sleeping and he wasn't eating and how that impacts your decision making and your productivity and working around big heavy duty equipment. So knowing that we're doing things that keep us safe physically, but then also mentally and over the long run too. So both it's a personal investment, and then for us, there's so many great things that have happened with the farm because of it too.
Awesome. What is something that you wish you knew a decade ago or 15 years ago, that you would like to share with everyone?
Uh, I didn't know anything 15, 10 years ago about mental health. I didn't know really what it was. I didn't know the signs. I didn't know how to talk about it. For me, the biggest thing after looking back is now knowing that mental health isn't linear. It's really, there's no destination. It's really a journey. And within this journey, um, it is it'll be hard. Life is hard, but also it is amazing. Like the things that Matt and I have learned about ourselves and the things that we have done over the past 10 years, it's made our marriage and our relationships with together and with our kids and with our family um, just so much stronger. So I don't view mental health like 10 years ago, when someone said mental health, I instantly thought negative and mental illness. And now when I hear mental health, I think of unique, special, flourishing, um, and healthy. Like it's changed my whole perspective of life through this journey. And I'm so grateful that I have gotten to do it with Matt because he's taught me. He's the strongest person I know, and the best person I know because he's taught me so much through this journey.
Is there any advice that you have for anyone else who is in that support role, whether that's anxiety or something else?
What I didn't know, so my best piece of advice is in that supportive role. I thought that I had to that my mental health wasn't as important. So I put everyone and everything at the top, and I gave it my all, and I was available 24/7, and I did whatever it took. But through learning is my mental health is just as important, and I needed to do things, because if my tank is empty, then I can't support those around me. And for a support person, getting support too was life changing for me. That you need support too, and that is okay. So boundaries, I would say the other thing that I've learned is those healthy boundaries, and support people they do so much for us. So they deserve all the love and support too right back.
Is there anything that we've missed that you would like to touch on before we sign off?
I don't think so, unless you want to talk about anything else.
I think you've done an incredible job of touching on so many different aspects and sharing, I mean, everything that you've shared. I see it as like a blueprint of like, okay, how do we create those healthier dynamics on farm no matter what's going on? I think you guys have done an incredible job, not just you and Matt, but your whole family working together and really prioritizing that, and then being able to see what happens when you do that, and how things positively evolve for everybody and for the business itself.
Yeah, it's been a worthwhile journey, and I couldn't imagine doing anything different.
Well, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today and for all you've done for agriculture and mental health in agriculture. If there's anyone looking to find more information or to access resources, including support lines, you can check out our website at domore.ag.